Hi everybody, it's Patti, Rockstar Mom. Welcome to my channel. Today is going to be different. It's going to be real different. You know, I've talked to you so many times in the past few years about being kind and how important it is to be kind to each other. And today I'm going to ask you a favor. And that favor is to show some kindness to someone who is near and dear to my heart. And to even tell you who that is, I want to tell you a story. And the story brings back a lot of memories. It's been about 15 years since I retired from my real job that I had worked at for the last 26 years of my professional working stage of my life. I had spent so many hours that I knew when I finally retired, I was going to do absolutely nothing. I knew that I needed a break. And I decided that before I ever even considered doing even a little part-time job, that I was going to take some time off, some good quality time. That was my plan. So I'd been retired a few weeks, and my daughter Jennifer and I were out one day just shopping and having lunch and piddling. And we decided to go into the brand spanking new penny store that had just been built and opened and check it out. And when we walked in the door, there was a brand spanking new Sephora. Wow. Well, at that point, I had been wearing Bare Minerals foundation forever. That was all I wore. I was the expert on it. I knew everything there was to know on it. Every time Leslie Blodgett was on QVC with Lisa Robertson or any other show host, I was glued to the TV. I have a Bare Minerals collection like you can't imagine. And I'm sure many of you are the very same way. And I've been trying to get my daughter to wear Bare Minerals, and she's going, no, I don't think so. So I thought, it was like the light bulb came on over my head, and I thought if I can get her in that store and get her to speak to a Bare Minerals salesperson, I will have her sold. So here we go. I drug her in there. And it didn't take long to figure out that I knew more about Bare Minerals than the little sales girl did. Now, she knew a lot. I will say that. She was knowledgeable about it, but she couldn't hold a candle to me. So we're standing there talking, and the little sales girl said, "Are you in a hurry?" And I said, "Well, no, not really." And she said, "Would you wait here? I'll be right back. I need to run to the back of the store." Well, I know now the back of the store was where all of the corporate offices were. So in a minute, she comes back, and she has her boss with her, introduces us. And her boss said, "I understand that you know a lot about Bare Minerals." And I said, "Well, I think I do." And she said, "How would you like to go to work for us?" And I laughed and told her, thanks, but no thanks. I had just retired. I was looking forward to my retirement. I'd never done any kind of retail before, and it was for a salesperson for Sephora and in that JCPenney. And I said, "No, I'm just, thank you, but I'm flattered, but I'm just not interested." Well, between the two of them and my daughter, they convinced me that I needed to take a part-time job working for Sephora. And I started working there. I'm telling you, I was so impressed with the knowledge of the products that those sales people had. When I first took the job, I spent days in a room just studying about products before I could even go on the floor. Not just Bare Minerals, but everything that was in that store. The manager of that store wanted every person, regardless of who walked in the door, she wanted every sales clerk on that floor to be able to answer any question. And we could. But there was one little sales clerk that I got to know really well. She was so cute. She was a doll, still is. We had trainers that came in to work with us to teach us when there was a new product out or new products. And she always had this little small spiral notebook, and she would take notes. And she was always taking notes. And she'd stick that little book in her pocket. And if any of us had a question about anything, or if she had a customer, she would whip that little notebook out and she could answer that question in a heartbeat. She was watching YouTube beauty videos, and I had no idea what they were. I would hear her talk about them. I didn't know what she was talking about. But as I said, I got to know her. And she was living in Arkansas with no family. She was with her life partner, and he was very different. He was an independent contractor. He worked for himself. He traveled all the time. And let me tell you what he did. He was the bus driver for all of these tours that all of the performers, entertainers who do concerts give. He was the bus driver for them. She would tell us who he was driving the bus for at any given time, and it was like our mouths would fall open. Today even, she says, if you've been to a concert, a major concert since the 70s, Eli has probably driven the bus that those performers rode on. And that's what he did. He just went from one tour to the next tour. He was gone all the time, literally. And Dawn was diagnosed with breast cancer while I worked with her. And she was so young, very young, with no family there at all to help her. And she was brave. I tell you, she was brave. She handled it like a pro. But I was privileged enough to be able to go all in the world I could do for Dawn was be emotional support for her. It was so neat because, you know, and Dawn had made some really dear friends there and who went with her too at times. So she really was not alone through that phase of her life. Eventually, I left Sephora. I went on and met Jim and married Jim and moved out of the area. But Dawn and I have stayed in touch. She hadn't worked at Sephora in a long time. Dawn was always very into yoga and had become a yoga instructor. Eli continued to travel, just, you know, home from time to time, in between gigs, in between tours. But COVID hit last year. And needless to say, the tour industry, the concerts, went away. Like everybody else, they were struggling. needless to say, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for Dawn. Dawn's friends locally there started helping as much as they could. And some of us were able to send money to her to help her out. But the little bits I'm sure that most of us were sending were just sort of tiding them over because there was no income coming in at all. Obviously, Dawn couldn't teach yoga with COVID going on. And people started encouraging Dawn at that time, just a few months ago now, a couple of months ago, to set up a GoFundMe for Eli. And she was just adamant about not doing it. But I think she finally decided that they had to do something. And she set up a GoFundMe page. And that is the huge favor I'm going to ask of you today. There's been I'm trying to think maybe 3 instances where I have donated to GoFundMe pages in the name of my channel, RXSTRMOM. And when I made those donations, it was for everybody who either subscribed to this channel or who watched that channel. It was not from me personally. I did it for us. And these were people that those content creators on YouTube knew well. And they were going out to their audience asking if they could help. And I did that not knowing that I would ever do it. But I think, and you know this about me, I think that God works in mysterious ways. And who ever thought, I wouldn't, that someone I cared about would all of a sudden, in the middle of something like this virus, would so desperately need help in keeping their head above water. It's not only that Dawn is having to worry about keeping Eli alive, just the things that she can do day to day, taking care of his medical needs. She has the weight of the world on her with the astronomical amount of medical bills that are coming in. So I'm going to direct you to Dawn and Eli's GoFundMe page. And if you're not familiar with a GoFundMe page, they are very, very common. It's a website where you can donate whatever amount, from the smallest amount to the largest amount, and the money goes to Dawn and Eli. So I'm going to direct you to that page. And what Dawn has done, and by the way, let me say this. I know that some of you who are watching this video are you're just not in a situation where you can give anything at all. You would love to, but you can't. I get that. I understand that. You know what you can do is you can say a prayer. You can lift Dawn and Eli in your prayers. And I know they would appreciate that. So if you can't do anything financially, I know you can lift them up in your prayers. But I'm going to direct you to the website, and I was so impressed with the way Dawn did this website, because let me tell you what you're going to see. First of all, you're going to see a video that Dawn put together where she shows the two of them from the early days when he starts driving these tour buses. And over the years, he has saved all of his tags for each tour, showing all the artwork for what it is. And I mean, there's just so many of them that she couldn't show them all. And they're, I mean, you're going to look at these and your mind is just going to be blown when you see the people that he has driven on these tour buses to these tours. And lots of pictures, and pictures of the buses. As many of you know, my daughter works with celebrities, and I can remember her telling me it was a real good thing that she didn't get starstruck very easily, because she couldn't do her job if she did. And that has to be the way Eli feels and felt. You just can't be too starstruck at all, or you couldn't do your job. He had to have been very well liked to have had the reputation that would enable him to drive for the people that he's driven for. On the GoFundMe page that Dawn set up, Dawn also writes a little letter, and you'll see it says read more. Just click on that, read more, and you'll have to do that 2 or 3 times because it is a long letter, but Dawn sort of tells you their story, much more intimate and much more personal than I can. That's where you can make a donation if you feel so inclined to donate to their GoFundMe page. But who knew 15 years ago, when I walked into that Sephora that day, that I would go to work there, that I would meet someone that I would never forget for as long as I lived, and not knowing that YouTube ever even exists. Well, I knew YouTube existed, but I didn't know about the beauty community. But to have a channel of well over 100,000 subscribers, who knew that 15 years ago I would be able to help Dawn and Eli in this way? God works in mysterious ways. We don't know what Eli's prognosis is. There are always miracles. But today I'm asking you to look inside your heart. And if you can help Dawn and Eli in any way whatsoever, I would appreciate it. And as I said, it may be that you're lifting them up in your prayers. Thank you so much for watching. Know that I love you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.